Welcome to the Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management video presentation series. In this series, you will learn about some of the tools that the agency uses on a daily basis to track their work and save their files. The primary tools used by the agency are Office 365, OKEM Grants, Web EOC, and our process library. A complete list of the systems can be found on process.oem.ok.gov, and we'll go over that later in this video. In this video, we're going to review the Office 365 and the process library. For OKEM Grants, you can visit our YouTube channel for videos that are specific to this tool, and there are probably a dozen or more that you can go through and take a look at. They start with the general navigation and go from there. Web EOC as well does not have any videos at this time, but please continue to check back to our YouTube channel for videos regarding Web EOC. First, let's go over how to get into Office 365. So from your browser, I'm using Chrome here. You could use Internet Explorer, whatever. You're going to go to office.com. And then from there, you're going to get a welcome page and you're going to sign in. Now, I've already signed in from this computer, so I'll just click the sign in. But if you are doing this for the first time, you're going to have to go through a little bit of a setup process. So make sure you're connected to the agency network when you do this. The first time you're going to have to set up your dual authentication, and this is going to entail entering a phone number that you're going to get a 6-digit code to be entered in text whenever you sign in from a computer or when you're away from the office space. And then you're going to set up some security questions. So anyway, I've already done that. So once you've done that, you can click sign in, and then you're going to enter your email address and then your password. When you get this, you're going to get a page where you want to enter your code. That code is going to be text to the phone number that you set up when you initially set up your Office 365. So you're going to enter whatever code they sent you, and you're going to click the verify button. And then this will bring you into Office 365. So let's take a look at some of the pieces of Office 365 that we use. We use Outlook, and for Outlook, this is mainly used for calendaring and email. If you use things like personal tasks, you can use that as well. OneDrive is your personal cloud drive. You can store files that you don't really need to share. If you're doing shared files, you're going to want to share those to a SharePoint site. We'll go over that here in a bit. But this is going to be very much like your C drive or your individual drive on a server that you probably had in the past. Then you have Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and those are your standard Office products that are used very much like they are in Office as they are here on the cloud. The next one is OneNote, and it's a place that you can take personal note-taking. OEM right now, this isn't widely used, I've noticed, but it's certainly available for you to take notes, and you can also take notes as part of a team. The next one is SharePoint, and we heavily use SharePoint in this organization. It's used to store files. You can create your team sites to share information. All OEM sites are going to begin with the word OEM. We're going to go over more detail of SharePoint in this video, and you'll see that. Teams is what we use to do personal chats. It's much like Skype if you've used Skype in the past. You can also schedule team meetings that will allow you to do virtual meetings, and we'll go over how to do that as well in a Teams OEM video. And then Yammer is much like your internal Facebook site. It's only used for the state, people that have access to the state network. And there are some of these out here, and you may want to check on the channels. We'll take a look at that. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at Outlook. It's going to look very much like your Outlook that you have on your desktop. it looks more web-based. So if you have a personal email that's web-based, it's going to look much more like that. So email, you'll notice it's just the same as it is. You have your draft, your deleted items. You can create new favorites, and you can create additional folders. And to navigate to the calendaring, you'll see over here at the bottom left hand corner, the first one's mail, the next one is calendaring, the third one is people, so you can look up contacts, and then the last one is your task if you use personal tasks. So some of the things I kind of like about this, you can flag things, and then once you have flagged them, you can filter for only flagged items, which makes it nice because you can go back and kind of look at what you've got flagged. Okay. The other thing, you can also filter for things that you've not read, or if it mentions a certain thing or something that has attachments. Sometimes I'm like, I know there was attachment, I don't know where it's at. So you can sort for just those things that have attachments. Okay, so we're going to go over here to the calendaring. OEM has all of their rooms in calendaring as well. So when you're scheduling a meeting, you can also schedule the room that you want to have it in. So to do that, we're going to schedule a new event up here in the top left hand corner. And you're going to add a title to the meeting. Okay. And then you're going to invite your attendees. Now, you can, if you notice, I've got people that I've probably invited to meetings before. You can select those people that you want to invite. And then you're going to select the date and the time. Now, if you don't know exactly when, because you don't know when they're available, we're going to use this scheduling assistant at the top. And you'll see here in the green bar, that's what you've got scheduled. So 2/24, 11 to 11:30. We actually want to go all the way out a few weeks to do one. So let's look at the week of March 9th. And so it looks like, if you look here, it looks like all of us are available Monday, March 9th at 1 o'clock. And I really think this is going to take an hour. So I'm just going to drag and drop that across there. So you'll see it's March 9th, 1 to 2. Now, if I want rooms, I want to book a conference room, I'm going to click this little blue link that says add a room, and then click add room here again. And then you're going to see all of the OEM rooms that start with OEM. If yours, I've been using mine a while, so it shows up. If not, you may have to enter the word OEM up here. But you'll see that all of these are available. If they weren't, you would see it in red and say not available. Okay, so we have the recovery office conference room and the recovery office training room, which is down in the ORO recovery area. And then the SCOC conference room, which is your governor's conference room, is the main one. You can also schedule meetings in the kitchen. I don't recommend that unless it's a last minute thing that you need to do. And then the Jaggers room is previously the ODOT room. It's over in the corner of the SCOC. So we're going to select the governor's conference room. And you'll see it showed up over here on the left now. We can close this. So you'll see that the room is now booked, or at least we've selected it, may not be booked yet, and then the people are all available. So we're going to click done. And so everyone's available from 1 to 2. You can add a description if you want to here, what this is about. This is to review the next year budget. You can add attachments at this point. You can also change it to working elsewhere or whatever. We're going to leave this at busy. This is also where you could add a Teams meeting. So if you want to add it as a virtual where the people do not actually have to show up in the conference room, you could turn this on and it's going to insert a Teams link to this meeting. So these people are all required. If you want optional attendees, you can click on the optional and you can invite other attendees. Sometimes I would do this if maybe my supervisors asked me to have this meeting. I would invite them as an optional attendee just so they know that it's happening. that what you asked me to do, I actually have booked it and you're an optional attendee. Okay, so once you're done with that, you would click the send button and then you'll see where it says event was created. And if we look over here on March 9th, we're going to see this meeting is scheduled. Okay. So another piece of Outlook that we use is to notify our supervisors of leave that we want to take. So if you're you want to take off for spring break, I've got mine marked here, but let's say we want to take off the Monday of spring break as well, then I'm going to create a new event. I'm going to say annual leave, and I'm going to optionally invite my supervisor. Okay, and then I'm going to do it for the dates that I want to go. So that's going to be March 16th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we're going to select those dates. And Mark doesn't need to be in there, but on the busy, we're going to check it as away so that they know that we're going to be away from the office. Okay? So you can just put taking annual leave for spring break. You will also need to let them know where you're going. This is especially important during activations so that if you need to be called back in, we know where we're going. So we're going to go to Keystone Lake and we'll just put that on there. Okay, if you're going to be gone multiple days, you're going to need to do this repeat. So you're going to repeat it every day, and you want to do it for the next 5 days. So you're going to do it every day until, so we're going to change this, we're going to do it every day until March 20th. Okay? And then you're going to send it. Okay, and then you're going to see that it shows you are actually out of office. And you'll notice the out of office is got this pink line so that you're out, annual leave. So then your supervisor can then through email, they're going to have to accept that meeting invite. So they will accept it and you'll know that you've been approved for your annual leave. Okay, so now you're going to be gone the week of March 15th through the 20th. The other thing you need to do is set your automatic reply to let people know whenever they send you an email that you're not in the office. So to do this, many times to find things, if I don't know because I don't use it very often, I'll just kind of search for things. So I'm going to go to settings because I know it's in settings, but I don't know exactly where. So I will just do in the search automatic replies, it comes up, and then here I can set my automatic replies. So this is for my mail, automatic replies, turn them on. I can turn them on and I can do this ahead of time. I don't have to wait till the Friday before. So I'm going to turn them on starting March 16th at 8 a.m. and I want them turned off. Let's do March 23rd because I'll be back March 23rd at 8 a.m. And I want to automatically decline new invitations. You can select that. Here we're going to send an automatic reply. You're going to put in a message in your reply, your automatic replies, and you need to include the date you're going to be out, an emergency cell phone number that they can call you at, as well as for just normal daily stuff, not emergencies, who they can contact for different things. If you have more than one department, then you may have more lines and more people, but you're going to put in an email address and a phone number for that. So you'll click save on that. Okay, you'll notice that we also have automatic replies for inside and outside your organization. So if you want, you can just copy and paste this for outside your organization as well, and then you'll want to click save for that. Okay, And then once you've done that, you can X out of this. So that's just kind of a brief overview of Outlook. Like I said, if you have more questions about how to use Outlook, I would use the search function up here. You can also find a lot of really good Google videos out on YouTube just in general. But mainly how we use it: booking rooms, scheduling appointments with each other, notifying our supervisors when we're going to take scheduled leave, as well as doing out of office. It is important to make sure you keep your calendar up to date with all the information. One more thing I do probably want to go over is if you have some personal things that you don't just want out there for everyone to see and only you can see, you can actually create a new event and you can make it to where it's private. And you can see that by under this busy where it says private. So that way you'll see it turns private and no one else can see that but you. Okay, you can uncheck that. Like you can see here, I have a doctor's appointment scheduled and I've got it marked as private. Okay, so that's a little bit about Outlook. We're going to get out of this by going back to just our Microsoft Office home screen, which you probably have a tab already open for that. Okay, next we're going to go over OneDrive. So like we said, OneDrive is kind of like your personal cloud repository of your documents. You'll also see at the bottom there's some shared libraries, and these link to the SharePoint sites. We'll go over those in a little bit. So these are files. You have your recycle bin, so if you delete something, it's not gone, it's going to go there. You can create a new document, and you'll see you can do different types of documents. You can also upload something from a file or a folder. So it's really very much like your SharePoint site, but it's your own little personal spot that you can do things. So like you'll see, I just uploaded this new employee tools video. You can create folders. You'll see here I can create a new folder to organize things just like you can anything else. So play around with that. That's a good little tool to keep all your documents. That way you can get them from wherever you're at. Okay, the next thing we're going to go over, we're not going to go over in detail Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Those are just like the version on your desktop, and we're going to assume that you guys know how to use those. The next one is OneNote. Honestly, we do not use this very much in OEM, but you can certainly do that. So we'll just take a look here. Looks like purchasing has a OneNote notebook. Now, if you go down here, you're going to go to the SharePoint site. Here you're actually going to go to the notebook, and you'll see it's empty. But why don't we go ahead and do one that I'm actually part of, this grant submission one. Let's take a look at it. So you'll see that there are some OneNote things here. There's some links that are in there. We can create a new section. So we could create a new section, and then within that we could create pages. So here you can create pages and you can just start doing all types of notes. This is probably particularly helpful if you just even want to do a personal OneNote, just to keep track of some notes that you have. Like I said, it's not widely used. Okay, let's go back to our Office page. And if for some reason your tabs are gone, you can get there too by just clicking on the bread. We call this the bread. It's the 9 little dots. Go back to Office 365 and it takes you back to that home page. So let's go through Yammer next. Yammer is kind of like your internal Facebook page, and there's a few of these you might want to join. You'll see here someone has a baby swing. So that one is the general sale trade. You can join that one. You just search for things. There's one for Yammer tips. There's a Office 365 questions and answers, which is very helpful. You'll see that I asked a question just a couple hours ago. Um, and then you'll see it was replied very quickly. So it's very quick to do this. So that's a good one too. You can put in there. You could even kind of look down through and see if there's anything that you want if you've got a question. OEM training. This was a training site for if there's new training coming up. I don't know how much this one's really used, but you can, like I said, use this. There's an OMES outage one. It looks like it hasn't been used in quite a while, so there's no telling. It's just kind of like Facebook. People can create new ones, and then sometimes they're used, sometimes they're not. So this could be helpful to you if you want to join some of these Yammer ones. Okay, Teams. We're going to go into Teams so that you can go to the chat and you can see different people that you want to chat with. If you want to start a chat with someone, then you're going to go to chat and you're going to do the little pencil up here which says new chat, and you can pick a person to chat with. And so Mark here is someone that I might want to chat with, and then you just type a message. And then you can either just hit enter or you can hit the little send button. And then if he responds, you're gonna see that back. So you can also filter if you want to do different filter for chats. It does keep all the chats from different people. Activity will just tell you, like Brianna mentioned me in a comment here for FMAG. So she may not have sent this directly to me. She was talking to Michael Teague here, but she mentioned me, so I can look at those. Teams are different teams that are created. When you create a SharePoint site, you're also going to create a Teams. So like the operating standards, you can say general or meetings. So general, there's some conversations, people have joined, meetings. Here it is, I'm testing the Teams meeting. So really Teams is something you just gotta have to kind of play around with. You can also make calls directly to someone. So if you know them, you can speed dial. If you don't, you can click contacts and you can find someone. So like here's Zach. So we can do that and we can make a call. I can type in Zach's name and I can actually call him. Let's see if he answers here.
Hello.
Hey Zach, this is Fonda. What are you doing?
Hey, I just left for lunch. What's up?
Well, I am doing a video on how to do a call on Teams, and you're our guinea pig.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's all I wanted, just to show people how it works. So thank you, and I'm going to hang up now.
Okay, have a
Okay,
good one.
you too. Bye. So you saw how that worked. It was very cool. And you can just call them if you don't know their phone number. This is especially great. So you can also, it's always going to ask you how the call quality was, and it was actually very good. So, okay, there's just so much to Teams, and out of the Teams, you can actually get to other things like you saw this. You can do help, go to apps. So it's just a really cool chat and call feature that you probably want to play around with and kind of test with your buddy sitting next to you and see how it works. Okay, the last one we're going to go over is SharePoint, and it is the main way that we communicate and load files. I know we still use Box a lot, but the agency is migrating away from Box and going to SharePoint. So you're going to see soon all files are into SharePoint. And so if you're getting trained in Box, that's going to be a temporary thing. But anyway, in SharePoint, you can create new sites. There's not a big need to do this a lot. Even if you do create one, make sure you create it and it begins with OEM. So let's kind of look at that. So if I just go to SharePoint and I search them for OEM and I hit enter, and here it's all files, sites, and I want to look at just the sites that start with OEM. And when you do that, you're going to see this long list of sites from OEM. And I'm not going to go over each one, but some of the main sites that you might be interested in is, first one is the employee portal, and that is where you can go to and pretty much get to other sites. But the thing about the employee portal is this is where you're going to see our strategic plan. Any SOPs that are open for input, employees have an opportunity to comment on standard operating procedures and policy for 3 weeks prior to it going to the SOP meeting. So if you click on that, you're going to see items that are open for input. So today you're going to see that this records retention and destruction policy is open. It closes February 20th. It's the 24th, but since the SOP group has not met, and they don't meet except for on Tuesdays, they won't meet and pick this one up till the 25th. So here you could go in and add comments or whatever. You're also going to see the to committee. So once it's closed and it's going to the committee for editing, you'll see these move. So right now there's a records retention and destruction policy that's available. So from the employee portal, I drilled down in there. You're like, oh, now what do I do? How do I get back? You can click the home page link up here and it's going to take you back. The other thing that you can get to from the employee portal is your standard operating procedures, and that basically takes you to the process.oem.ok.gov, and we're going to go over that a little bit more later in this video. So let's go back. You can also go to Human Resources and its a subsite, and you'll see the official holidays, helpful employee links. You'll see those type of things, just human resource related. I'm going to go back to the home page again. Underneath here, you're going to see news, anything like you're going to see new employees that have been added, information about them, conversations. We bring in our tweets, the last tweets that has happened. So you're just going to see a lot of information, popular documents, things like that on this employee portal. In addition, up here across the top, you can go to the employee directory, and from this you're going to see a list of everyone in the agency, their office phone, cell phone, what department, and whether they're a GALT. Many of the staff within OEM are GALT employees. Some are here working with us from FEMA, so you're going to see different people in the employee directory. You can add a new one. You can export this out to Excel. You can just do all kinds of things. This is a typical list, what they call a list in SharePoint. The next link is the strategic action plan items, and if you click on that, you're going to see the detailed task plan for achieving the strategic plan. Here you'll see those that are completed, those that are coming due, who they're assigned to, how much they're complete. This is a pretty long list. I think there's several pages of this, but this is a typical what you call tasks. So you can do tasks in SharePoint as well. We are going to go back home to the SharePoint site, and then you can see documents. So these are documents that are stored for all employees, and you're going to see some folders which they've kind of categorized. Asset management has a folder, and if you go to the asset management SOP, it'll explain what this is for. Employee onboarding, again, there's an SOP for this. FEMA fact sheets. So these are things that we've gotten from FEMA that are fact sheets. They're about things coming up. Okay, go back to documents. OEM standing meetings. Currently there's several standing meetings, and if you want to know more about those meetings, so like the SOP meetings is a standing meeting, and you're going to see a folder for each meeting. And if you go into the latest one, you're going to see the agenda and minutes to those as well. Okay. So the strategic plan has a folder, recovery has a folder, and if you go into there, they have UCG meetings from FEMA and PA admin plans. So this is a work in progress. You're going to continue to see more and more documents added to this. The site contents really doesn't take you, it just tells you what all is on the website. This portal really doesn't tell you a whole lot. I don't know. I go to it occasionally if I'm looking for something specific. Pages are if there's any additional pages. You'll see Elizabeth has created some pages that you can go out and look at information. Okay. Issues. Issues is a place that you can log items that you need people to work on, or if you have a system issue, you can click on that. If you need access to something, you need your PC moved. If you just It's used for a lot of different things. And you'll see here we've got issues and they automatically number, and we've got 59 open issues right now. And if you want to add a new one, so let's just open one first to kind of give you an idea of what kind of stuff is on this. So like update members in the public assistance website. So you'll see here it says update members in the public assistance email group, and it's assigned to Putnam. And here's the issue. Please add the following people to this email group. It's the issue category. We'll look at those here in a minute. And then the date it was logged, who logged it, what status it's in, priority, and if there's a due date or any attachments. Okay, so we can edit this actually, or we can copy the link. Sometimes you might want to copy the link if you want to ask for a status. So you could do this like here, I'm going to send the link. Maybe I'm going to send it to Putnam and say, hey, haven't seen anything on this. Can you give me an update? Okay, that's kind of cool. But let's create a new one. Here's a new one, and we can do a title, employee video, and we're going to assign it to Zach Stanford here. And we're going to put an issue description. Please create a video on how to use Web EOC. Okay, and let's change this title a little bit for Web EOC. Okay, and then he's going to put in a resolution. The issue category depends on what it is. So operations support is the people that support asset management and the PCs and those type of things. Recovery PA, or if it needs to be escalated to a manager meeting or executive meeting. These issues, the issue lists, are also used to track executive meeting action items and manager meeting. So we're going to put this in operations support, and the date it was logged and who it was logged by. We're going to put me, Wanda Logston. If I have any notes, the status is new, and what priority. So this is just really, it's kind of a low priority. High would mean I want you to work on it in the next 24 hours. Normal is within the next week or so, and low means, within the next month or so. If there is a due date, you could put a due date, and this is where you could also add attachments. And you can do this by just clicking attachments and then clicking the document you want to upload, and here you're going to see it. And then I can click save for this. Okay, so once you save this, I'm not going to save this because it's not a real thing, but once you save this, then it's going to add a new one to the list. And I would probably, if you've assigned it to a specific person, I would probably click this little share, and I would send them an email and say, hey, added a new issue for you to work on. Okay, so that's how we use that. You can also export this complete list to Excel. You can sort this by saying I want to group these by assigned to, and so then you're going to see everything. We've got 8 that are unassigned. We've got 18 assigned to Alden. Bobby Carter has 2, Brandy has 1, Fonda has 3, So that's kind of cool. You can, you can do that by category. So let's take this off, and let's do it by category, because then we can actually see what all needs to go to the executive meeting. We've got three. We've got a budget worksheet, tier customer support model, and auto attendant for agency needs to be discussed at the executive meeting. We've got a few for the manager meeting. Operations support has 19. So it's just a really cool tool to track items that we need to track in the agency, open up issues for each other, and things like that. So feel free to use that. We will be adding additional issue categories. If you'll notice, we don't have a whole lot of different people using this. I expect that to change. So you're probably going to see a lot more categories being added over the next few months. Okay, so that's pretty much for SharePoint. You're probably going to have some specific SharePoint sites that you get to as an employee in a specific unit, like PA, Public Assistance has their own, FMAG has their own, Finance has one, Subrecipient Monitoring, Finance Group has that too. So you're going to see a lot of these. You're going to learn which ones, and people should be adding you to groups that you need to be in. So the next thing, the last thing I want to go over just as a new employee that you need to be aware of is the process library. So you're going to want to go to process.oem.ok.gov, and let's go over a little bit about what this site is. So there's an introduction, and it kind of tells you about what each one of the sections are, but we're just going to go over those a little bit. Accessibility information, how you request changes, and then the change log can all be found at the top. You can get, by opening the X's, the plus signs besides, or expanding those, you're going to see a list of all the operating procedures. If you don't want to look at it in the small one, just click on this. It lists all the operating procedures within that have been approved through the process, the standard operating procedure process. So let's just go look at employee onboarding. And here you're going to see there's a couple of files attached. The 2.1.8 employee onboarding, both the PDF and document version, as well as you're going to see related items. So you can tell by the 2.1.8a that this relates to policy procedure 2.1.8. So here you have new employee onboarding checklist, and you have the email, vehicle, cell phone assignments. In addition to, there's a task called perform employee onboarding, and so we can look at these. So if we go to these attached files, you're going to see this is the actual SOP. There it is, written in the PDF format. You can see the details. Okay. If you go to one of these attachments, related elements, the checklist, it's going to again tell you that this is modified by the executive assistant and human resource specialist. It's an input to this task, perform employee onboarding, and it's also the output to it. So if you want to go to the template, the checklist, you can open that, and then when you open that one, it's going to open it up down here in the bottom left hand side, and we're going to open this when it's done. It may take a little bit to do that. So it will give you everything you need to know about that standard operating procedure, along with all the attachments that go with that. Okay, so that's what you're going to find in standard operating procedures. Forms and templates are all the forms and templates that we use in the agency. Now, like I said, this website's a work in process, so if forms and templates have not had an SOP written, or they have not been given to the technical writer to put out here, they may not be there, but you can see by section, or you can just look at all of them. So here's all the forms and templates so far that are used. Okay, and if they start with a number, I want to show you the difference here. If they start with a number, that means they are actually attached to a standard operating procedure. And if they're not, then a standard operating procedure has not been written for them. Okay. So you can also look at them, like if we just want to look at the finance ones or the HR ones, those are the two HR ones. These are operating technology ones. Public assistance has a few, so you're going to see all of these out here. Okay, the next section are roles, and they kind of tie into job titles. So if we go through here and we look at some of these job titles, let's just look at an administrative assistant, travel coordinator, and we can click on that, and then you're going to see that they play many roles. Okay, administrative support, they do any role. We're going to look at this because it's good for all employees. They're also a travel coordinator. They also are activated as an administrative support for the EOC. Okay, and then you're also going to see their job description and their HCM 111 template, which is their PMP. So if we look at this and we go to administrative support, you're going to see all of the tasks that administrative support role is responsible for. So they assist with mass mailings, they compile records for reports, they get the agency director's signature, process incoming mail, provide event support, scan documents, make copies, schedule meetings. They also coordinate administrative projects. So we can just look at one like getting the agency's signature, and if we click on that, we're going to see there's actually an SOP related to that, because 242 is the agency's director's signature process. So you're going to see that administrative support does this, any role can also do this, and the executive director are primary performers in getting signatures. There's a transmittal form, and then it's done 24/7 or as needed. It's done through Office 365 is used to perform this actual task, and it's done primarily in Oklahoma City. So if we actually look at this process, it would tell you when this transmittal form would be used. So if we go open up this SOP, you're going to see that employees attach a transmittal form to whatever documents they want signed. And if you look down at the bottom, you're going to see the attachment referenced. Okay, so that's kind of cool that you can get to from where you're supposed to be as a job title and what roles you do and what standard operating procedures apply to you. Kind of neat. The other thing we have are departments. So within each department, you can see what it is that they do. So if we look at human resources, you're going to see the tasks that they do. They perform onboarding, offboarding, they approve time and attendance, they perform employee evaluations, process shared leave. These are the tasks that they are responsible for. Okay? And you can go to individual assistance. They administer the IA program. Field services does Safe School program, coordinates exercises, coordinates training, is local emergency manager, coordination, administration. So that's kind of cool if you want to know what the different departments do. The systems, this we referenced at the beginning of the video. You can see all the different systems that are used, and you can click on one. So for example, Camtasia, who uses that? Well, we use it to create documents and videos, and we use it for video editing and creation. So that's kind of cool. You can click on a system, find out what it is, what all processes and tasks that system's used for. Really kind of cool. Okay, the last thing, or the last couple things, where and locations. So things that are done in Oklahoma City, you see all the tasks. Things that are done statewide, you'll see those. Things that can be done from the employee's home. We conduct situational monitoring, and that can be done from employee's home. The time and when will tell you things that are 24/7. So if we click on that, here are the tasks that all happen 24/7. Okay. Things that are done annually. These are annual processes that we do. Okay. Biannual processes, right now we don't have any of those. During a disaster, these are things that happen during disasters. Okay. So this is just a really cool website that will let you kind of see what we do, how we do things. I would suggest you go out and look for your job title. Oh, as a new employee, I think here's a really important one. If you go to all roles and then you go to this one called any role, you will see functions, tasks that any employee can do. So if you want to look at adhering to branding standards or adhering to federal and state policies, the carpool and travel, completing required training, how to create documents and videos, creating SharePoint sites, developing policies and procedures. So any of these you can see, like someone tells you to go register for OK Warn, you could click on that and here's the register link to OK Warn. So any employee is good. The other one you want to go look at, and we're going to go back to roles just so that you can see. There's one over here called new employee. So you need to complete the required training and register for OK Warn. This is probably going to be expanding, but this is a really good place for new employees to kind of start what it is they're supposed to do. Okay, so that is your process library. Like I said, it gets updated about every other week. You're going to see changes to that. If you have any suggestions for that, please let your supervisor know, or better yet, open up an issue that we went over in SharePoint and put in how you would like to see the site changed. Okay, so let's go back. I think we've pretty much covered all the main applications. I would encourage you to kind of play around with this. There are a lot of other applications you can see here that you can use that we've not even touched on. Feel free to use them and go out and research more. Anyway, welcome to OEM, and I hope this video has kind of given you an overview of the two major products that we use, which is Office 365 and the Process Library. Thank you.